What's up, everybody? Josh and Jay back with the podcast. America is Blue. Back with you on a Champions League Wednesday night. Here to talk about a positive result at Stamford Bridge tonight. Jay, before you get the first word, as is per usual around here, I just wanted to say we both got one thing right. Looking at the team sheets today, and at least we both had the back four right. Short of that, not very much was correct in the predictions, but we're starting to get used to this Graham Potter guy. So, per usual, Jay, what's the first word on the game today?
A win is a win. Dynamo Zagreb should not be the measuring stick for the success of Chelsea Football Club. That said, we got a win. We got good vibes. We tend to not make things easy. Frankly, I don't think we ever make things look easy. So it was entertaining, and we came away with it. So glad we are finishing the group well. Glad we have that all locked up, and now we can move on to the weekend.
Yeah. And also, seeing the back four, I don't know if it was a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. I don't know exactly. I'm calling it a 4-4-2. It just seemed like that. But we're getting into the semantics. And another thing that was very interesting, obviously, we did have the Jorginho plus debutant base midfield. We just didn't have the right debutant. And it was refreshing to see Dennis Zakaria out there. Quite frankly, I'd almost forgotten about him. And I got to say, my first impressions are positive, and he's a big dude. He is a big guy out there. I didn't quite realize how imposing he is, but man, he really looked good today.
Yeah, no more round peg, square hole for Graham Potter. We don't have wingbacks. We don't play a back three with wingbacks. Switch to a back four. Okay, now we can move on from that. That's great. And yeah, I'm glad we came out with the right formation. I saw it a little bit more as a 4-3-3. I saw it somewhere as a 4-3-1, whatever it was. It was right to play with the back four. That's the only thing that frankly matters here. And yeah, Dennis Zakaria looked great. He's a big man. He was imposing. He was direct. He played crisp passes. There wasn't any of this funny little one-touch, little flicky, whatever. He got the ball. He was decisive. He put it on people. I wonder why he hasn't been out there today. Graham Potter's been saying he's been a professional. He's been good in training. It's been good. Okay, I'm glad we've seen him. Now potentially we have the opportunity to see more of him.
Well, I mean, it's going to take a lot of heat off him. Having a great performance like that gives you a lot of confidence and feeling good about yourself moving forward. A couple other, just team notes before we jump into the action. You had a good call on the last cast as well. Just noting getting Raheem Sterling back up into a more normal, suitable position for him is going to be critical to his success on the pitch for us. And his opportunities to get on the pitch for England as well. So it was great to see him, playing in the right place. And then, with Mace, playing today, obviously, in my predictions, I had Pulisic in the lineup instead of Mason Mount, due to the fact that this wasn't necessarily the most important game, but clearly Graham has his eyes on Mace staying sharp for the weekend. I didn't think that he would necessarily play as long as he did. But it was great to see those two guys up there and also kind of working through the gears a little bit.
Yeah, and we touched on this on the last cast. Like, this was a big balancing act game, whereas we need to work on building this team and coming up with an identity. And the only way you're going to do that is by having the right guys out there and having guys play with each other. So keeping guys sharp, getting them in the right position so that they have an opportunity to succeed
helps.
Balancing that out with, knowing what we have coming down the pike in the next three games. So I was thrilled for Raheem Sterling. He's a world-class winger. We need him to be playing forward winger. We don't need him to ever, ever, ever play wingback again. I think this is great for his confidence. So super pumped that he was out there. I'm glad that we had the right formation. We had good spacing. It was the right approach. We were direct. That's the way we should be playing.
Yeah, 100%. And then just last thing, two things I wanted to talk about too is the biggest note that I kind of took on the team sheet was, if you're Hakeem Ziyech and you can't get a run out against, Dynamo in a meaningless, Champions League game, he's got to be lost in the wash. I mean, not as though he hasn't been, because it's been evident by the fact that he hasn't been playing. But I mean, this has got to be the nail in the coffin for this guy. We gotta either set him free or figure out what's going to happen with Hakeem Ziyech. Might not be the time to completely unpack that situation, but that's got to be a tough one for him.
It does not look good. It does not look good for him. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity. It's a meaningless game. You're looking to try to, again, get the emotions of the squad going in a positive direction, and he doesn't get a sniff. I mean, he was bundled up on that bench. There was not even a hint to him coming on. So, listen, I like Hakeem Ziyech. I think he's a very creative player. I think he's got a wonderful left boot. But with January, summer, he does not appear to be in the long-term prospects of this squad. So,
well, I mean, I wish him the best. I think he's really had a troubled time. Just never seemed to really work out for him. I remember his first game in the preseason a couple years ago under Frank Lampard. He got a little knee twist in his first game, and he was out for like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and then just didn't really work out from there. And then also shout out to the Dynamo Zagreb traveling fans, because they were rocking the house. Their chanting and raucousness was completely noticeable. They were amazing. I mean, shouts out to them, because the display that they were putting on and the energy that they were giving their squad was completely notable, and it played right through the television screen that I was watching on. Unbelievable.
I don't think I heard our fans once. They completely drowned us out. Yeah, I mean, again, this was not a meaningless game for them. I mean, if they, mathematically, they still could have qualified for Europa League. But the fact that they traveled to the bridge, drowned out the bridge, and kept it up the entire game regardless of what was going on, dude, those guys, that was epic. That was amazing.
I mean, it was awesome.
So, yeah, props to them.
It was amazing. And they clearly, and I really do believe this, I mean, they willed them basically through that first goal. I mean, it was a horrific start from our perspective. Like, I don't want to just sit here and heap all the praise on Zagreb, even though they deserve it. I mean, it just terrible. And it starts that terrible feeling in the pit of your stomach, the but of course, and where it feels like every single time they have the ball and they're approaching our 18-yard box, it's going to be a dangerous cross, and it's going to get a flick or, a head, or it's going to end up on somebody's boot. It's going to end up in the back of the net. That's, of course, what we get. And we got two California Redwoods right in front of, Edouard Mendy, who himself is a California Redwood. You got Trevor Chalobah, and you got Koulibaly right there with Mendy, who's probably the biggest keeper in the Premier League. And we got double headers going in, to start the game. Not a great look.
It had to happen. It just had to happen. We finally get our back four. All the fans are feeling like we know something.
Because,
boom,
of course.
7 minutes into the game, clean header, 3 yards away from the line, and bang, now we're down. I'm sitting there, I'm like, here we go again. Here we go again. We're either going to make this extremely interesting, or we're just going to fold like origami here, and this thing's just going to be over with. And yeah, no, I'm glad we actually showed some resolve and bounced back from that, because it was a nightmare.
Brutal start, but credit to the boys. A real response, and it started right away. You could see the sense of urgency immediately. Really starting to rise. Once we started getting some attacking balls, started working through the gears in the midfield, being a little bit more incisive, and a little bit more direct. We had some nice, crosses from Kai mixed in there. We were just, looking for that correct combination. And then, great ball from Georgie, and then, Raheem being Johnny on the spot. Great finish with the left. I think he took advantage of maybe some poor defending. I remember, watching, I think it was, Perisic, looked like he kind of got his feet caught a little bit in the Stamford Bridge turf there, but, nonetheless, poor defending or not, great finish by Raheem with his off foot. And, that's what good players do. They take advantage of mistakes and make the other team pay. and we were able to see a positive result of Hakeem's proper positioning and good footballing.
This was a big one, not only for what happened in this game and us turning it around, but a couple of things. Number one, Jorginho being creative. Jorginho actually putting balls in there that's going to test the back line. So we need a lot more of this very poor man's Andrea Pirlo type Jorginho, and far less John Obi Mikel only sideways and backward passing. This is the Jorginho we need.
That was 3 pours. Like, I mean,
we need this from him. And for, again, a lot of his ideas, you could see what he was trying to do. The balls were far from perfect, right? He wasn't landing them on somebody's foot in stride. Again, it was the right idea. And yes, the defense on that particular play, they mucked it all up. Pivoting over, Raheem Sterling needed this.
No doubt.
It's been so frustrating. The fans have been coming down on him. There's been a lot of pressure and a lot of negative press going toward Raheem Sterling. And with him, we get the World Cup coming up. He just changed squads from Man City to come over to Chelsea to have a more prominent role. He started the year reasonably well. And then all of a sudden,
paid a couple bucks for him too.
All of a sudden, now you're playing over at wingback. You don't know what you're doing, and everybody's throwing shade at you. So for him to be able to get that finish from his rightful position, you could just see it on his face when he netted that. Just the emotion was coming out of him, like the relief and the frustration he must have been feeling over these recent weeks. So super pumped for him. It was a great finish. And yeah, we were on our way back.
Well, I mean, great point by you too. I mean, you talked about it last time we came out, last cast. Let's get some joy going in these guys, and you could see it in his face. You're absolutely right. It's just, it meant a lot to him, and that's the sort of thing that's gonna, I think, again, trickle down into the dressing room, which is, I think, is critical. You want all these guys feeling good about each other as well as themselves. So that's definitely a great moment. Hopefully we can continue to build off of that. But let me actually ask you one thing. We were talking about Georgie. Seeing a guy like Zakaria in there today, maybe more of a true deep liar, a truly, kind of a number 6, a real defensive midfielder. Do you think playing next to him versus a Kova, who may be a little bit more of an incisive guy, do you think that makes a difference for the type of Jorginho that you see, or do you think that this is something that he's just not doing enough of?
The latter. It seems like there's something that goes off in his brain when he receives the ball deep, where it's just play it back to the keeper, play it back to a defender, goes back to him, play it right back to the same defender, and it just goes nowhere. It's more like a training ground drill as opposed to doing something that actually is going to provide some impact or some meaning on the game, or make one of your own players look better by putting them in the right position. So, COVID drives the ball a little bit more. Maybe as in doing so, Georgie's got it in his head that some of his defensive liabilities will be exposed, and maybe he's too preoccupied with that rather than bringing out that creativity that we have seen from him occasionally, just not anywhere near often enough. But I thought Zakaria, I thought he was fairly offensive today. I thought he was trying to press forward a little bit. So honestly, I think Georgie just needs to focus on this more, and he needs to make the defense answer questions.
Well, I mean, I think that's totally fair point. Well, and you said it too, is he wasn't picking out perfect passes, but just keep poking, keep prodding, keep going in there. Something's going to land. And I think that you're absolutely right. It's the theme and the spirit of what he's trying to do is absolutely correct. So, coming off of the goal, the other nice thing to see was we did continue to punch. We didn't settle. We were looking for more goals. I think we were really working through the midfield. It was nice to see the intricate team play that we had going on. Guys with their heads up, looking to pass the ball forward, whether it was a wide man, a guy in the center, really moving the ball nice. I had some notes. We had Koulibaly had a decent opportunity off a corner. Raheem, had a ball, come to him that he might have, you might be looking, for him to finish that. But when the ball bounces to the debutant and he finishes, it's good for everybody. And for the record, again, I did call a debutant goal today. Just got the wrong guy. But of course,
But of course, yeah, Raheem had two of those. He had two good opportunities to score. I believe both of them were from crosses, although from different angles from Kai Havertz. So again, we got the goal. That's great. He could have finished two more right there fairly easily, but whatever. Kai Havertz had a nice game. I thought he played very well today. I thought he looked lively. He was giving guys the opportunity to be able to put something in the net. Didn't exactly go through, but I was really impressed with with the performance he put on.
yeah. Well, I mean, the team in general, the word that I kind of said before was adventurous. I wanted us to be a little bit more adventurous moving forward, and we had some very creative passing. Guys willing to hit balls into the box a little bit earlier than normal. I feel like sometimes we've been trying to move the ball like straight past the goalie, and it's just like guys, let's get something into the box. Let's try to create and build something from just getting some pressure in there. Like you said, it's just the continued pressure. Something's going to find the right leg, the right head. You're going to get some bodies in there and try to wreak a little bit of havoc. And again, great to see that we're looking to finish instead of passing the ball backwards.
Dude, you just hit the nail on the head on something. I don't want to leave this yet. This even goes back to Tuchel. I feel like we've become very predictable in our attack.
Oh,
Right? So we do one of two things. We're either having our wing backs, whoever they may be, drive up and just try to rip crosses, right? Or it's kind of like this pseudo tiki-taka. It's almost too many passes, right? It's like an NFL football. It's like, yeah, do I need to complete 24 passes to be able to get the ball down the field? Or do we need to keep the defense honest and take a chance here or there to make them think? And we've just had, it's either crosses in or we're trying to just flick and flick and flick and flick and flick and work the ball up. And then by the time we get to the final third, it's all just puttered out. So exactly, that ball from Kai Havertz, which did hit Sterling's foot, he just kind of misplayed it. He got the ball. He was far out. He just cranked that thing in. They weren't expecting that because we haven't been doing it. So you're absolutely right that we need to diversify our attack, and I think that's one of the perfect ways for us to be able to do it.
And actually, I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, it is diversifying the attack because God, it becomes brutal, and that's where the sinking feeling comes in, where you're just like, oh God, do I have to watch this movie again, where we have the ball for 70% of the time, and we're just sitting here moving the ball around back and forth, side to side, and not peppering the goaltender, not making him work. It can be very frustrating, but nonetheless. Great finish by Mr. Zakaria. Fantastic to see a debutant on the score sheet. Going to give him a ton of confidence moving forward, regardless of the position that he's put in moving forward in terms of playing time and roles. He knows that he can produce at a high level in an important match. And scoring at home is pretty nice too, man. Getting a little bit of love from the home fans. That's got to feel good. And again, that's got to sink into the dressing room too, right? The boys got to love, the debutant getting a goal at home and, making them feel a little bit more settled. And now you got another guy who's got a chance to, earn some stripes and some credibility within the dressing room. So,
yeah, I feel like you always got to again, it's the measuring stick, right? Like he did this against a certain level of competition, but seeing him out there and given some of the issues that we've been experiencing in the midfield, he's got me wanting to see more. Like I definitely want more of that. So, yeah, let's see what he could do up against Premier League competition. And he's been riding the pine for weeks.
Yeah,
for weeks. You didn't even hear a sniff of this guy. Graham Potter says he's been great in training, been a professional. I don't know if maybe they thought he needed to pick up the pace and make an adjustment from what he was experiencing in Serie A. He didn't play very much when he was with Juventus, but I like what I saw today. So I hope we definitely start getting him in the mix because we've been complaining nonstop about a lot of our midfield.
And the size, like I said, I just truly did not realize how imposing a guy he is out there. And I mean, he's a beast. So God bless him. Yeah, let's get that boy out there.
If Chukwuemeka can turn into something, you imagine those two guys like roving around our midfield? It's like
You know what? Actually,
Terminators.
he's got, yeah, I mean, they're big time guy. Well, so right after the finish, we had a couple more attempts. Chile hit the side netting. I know he had a really nice cross that was just left right in front of the goal, which made me think, where is Aubameyang, who was a little bit MIA today? Maybe he had his eyes towards the weekend, but I don't want to hammer him too hard here. But after the triple change, we brought on your boy, Mr. Broya, Conor Gallagher, and Thiago Silva. And I got to say, my little note here is Conor Gallagher looked very bright. When that guy came in, very, very bright. Everything he does is positive. Every move he makes is purposeful. He's, especially when he gets a head of steam going, he's really fun to watch. I really, really like Conor Gallagher, and I hope that we continue to see him find a place.
Yeah, I like him too. He brings a lot of energy. Right? He's a good wild card out there because he does. He's constantly going after the ball. Sometimes I almost think he puts in too much effort on certain things, but he's a spark plug for this team. So, there's some things that he still needs to work on, but he's a young guy, just like a lot of the other guys on our team. He needs to get a little bit more polished in certain areas, but I love seeing him out there. So I'm glad he got an opportunity today.
Well, it's almost like a controlled recklessness.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of, but again, it's my favorite trait is the work rate, the industry. Conor Gallagher has those in spades, and that's a big trait for me. I thought he was really bright. And then just the last note that I had on the game, other than, Mace had that great free kick effort that was turned away into a corner. Man, like, honestly, just when I think that, I was like, he's not really gonna go for it from there. But I mean, he really does manage to put some very, very, very difficult shots on target and making guys work. And that's why he's one of the best in the business. But the other thing that I just wanted to note was it felt like we also couldn't put this one away, which was tough to
That's
watch.
exactly what I was just looking at.
It's just,
Yeah.
Thiago Silva missing sitters and other different things. And I'm like, why is it 2-1? Why is it 2-1? Why not 3? Why not 6? It's frustrating to see that we're not just knocking people out. We should be obliterating and bludgeoning these guys.
Our finishing it's amateurish. It's bad. I was happy today with the approach again, right? Like we were very attacking. We created a lot of opportunities. I like the fact that we changed up how we were going about attacking. All of that stuff is super positive, right? We had so many opportunities today. I can think of at least a dozen opportunities that could have been or should have been really legit scoring chances. And we're not getting it done. And this is not good competition, right? I mean, this isn't a high-level squad. So, this is as we develop, right? I don't really know how to gauge my expectations for where Chelsea is going to be by the end of this year, right? There's still so many moving parts. We have to get bodies back into the lineup. We have to build some continuity. We have to figure out what that identity is under Graham Potter and how we're going to go ahead and play, particularly up against good opposition. But we have to be able to finish a greater percentage of these good chances. We have to. And we're not quite there yet.
We are not. And we also have to survive the war of attrition that is going to be the World Cup.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be the great equalizer. But all right, so 2-1 up the Chels, great result. Winners of the group. Might want to also note before we get into the man of the match, one interesting Champions League note: PSG falling to second in their group. They're a possible round of 16 opponent, and whoever they get, that's going to be a pretty big round of 16 opponent. I hope they get Madrid or something else, somebody else. But I'm happy to play Club Bruges or somebody like that in the round of 16, if I'm being honest. But let's head into the man of the match, which is brought to you by All Out Fitness. And at All Out Fitness, they're empowering individuals to be their best selves. Jay, who empowered them, themselves today, and was the best that they could be?
I'm going with Dennis Zakaria. I
Ah,
like, yeah. Listen, it wasn't just the goal. The goal was great. This is your first start for the club. Again, all warm and fuzzies around that. But I liked what I saw from the guy, and I've been hearing a lot about him. I've never really seen him play. I know he didn't get much burn at Juventus, right? He got out there, and this was his opportunity, and he took advantage of it. And I thought he looked really good. And I've been very concerned about our midfield, and for him to go out there and show what he's capable of, that got me excited. So I'm giving it to Dennis.
you know what?
Old Dennis.
This is tough because this is probably why we're friends, and I don't want to admit it, but the pros, they gave it to Mason Mount, and I too was giving it to Dennis Zakaria. I mean, I just everything about it. I just really liked everything that I saw today. Again,
Mason Mount got man of the match by the pundits.
yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
I mean, listen. I thought he had a decent game. I mean, he wasn't bad, but I wasn't seeing like a standout performance from Mason Mount. I'm surprised at that.
I mean, it made me feel like maybe I wasn't watching the right game. But Dennis, I got to give it to Dennis. A little hat tip to him. Number 20. I'll remember that now. But great for him. First game in blue, London Bridge, Stamford Bridge, in London on a Wednesday night. Awesome for him. Hope that he can carry that over into some other positive performances.
I hope that knock wasn't bad. Well, he dinged himself up a little bit.
Well, and also we have to talk about we didn't talk about Ben Chilwell.
That sucks.
I mean,
that really, really sucks for a million reasons.
I don't know what the deal is. I mean,
his hammies. Yeah, this is not like a 2-week turnaround. His hammies. This is going to take a little while for him to heal up.
Oh yeah, I mean, and look and think about that. The starting, essentially left and right backs for not only our beloved Chelsea Football Club, but also for England, the national team, are out. And they're having a national shortage of wingers over there in the UK. Right,
you know what this means, though?
What's that?
A lot more Mark Cucurella.
Good for you.
A lot more Mark Cucurella. That guy better find himself.
Well,
he better find himself.
And fast. Because,
shave your head. Change it up. Shave your head. I want a new look, Mark. Mark, just change up. Curveballs, please.
I mean, hopefully it's not a Samson situation, but I mean, he needs to make some kind of change. But look, I was very positive on Mark Cucurella coming in. I mean, he was the player of the season at Brighton last year. A lot of clubs wanted him. It's very evident that he's a very talented guy. He just needs to settle in and get his feet underneath him. And I know that he's going to be a fantastic player, for us.
Kidding aside on this, if we continue to do what we've been doing, right, or what we just did, not what we have been doing, if we play in a back four, like he did at Brighton predominantly, and he starts to play left back, I think we'll start to see more of what he was there. The thing with him playing left center back, this is just not his bag. So this may be the opportunity, right? This may be the opportunity for him to shine in a position that he's much more comfortable in, and maybe we'll get to see the guy that we thought we were bringing in.
Great point. So, actually, I'd love to see that. Hey, look, man. At the end of the day, we want all these guys to be successful.
Absolutely.
We love the club, and we're always rooting for everybody. All right. Transitioning now, looking towards the weekend. Sunday morning, 7 a.m. And don't worry, you're coming off of daylight savings, so it's more like 8. Arsenal, London Derby, at the Bridge. They're sitting first, 10 points clear of us, they've taken 31 points from a possible 36. Jay, we have a lot to talk about on Friday night's preview, but do you have some initial thoughts that you'd like to tee up?
My teaser is this. As long as we have been fans and becoming fans of the Premier League, I don't have many teams that I have disdain for. Arsenal, I cannot stand. It is the only team. This is my personal Chelsea FC rival. I do not like them. And they are playing exceptionally well. So I really hope they surprise me. I hope we go out there and I hope we play gangbusters. I want a W out of this thing more than anything. But on paper, and when you consider form, our deficiencies, their strengths, it does not look great. So I'll leave it at that until we jump in on over the weekend and we can discuss this a bit further. But my, do I not like Arsenal?
Well, there's nothing I love more than to see you embittered. So I can't wait to talk about how much you can't stand the North London rivals of Arsenal Football Club. But we'll leave that for Friday. In the meantime, we really appreciate everybody's support. Thanks for giving us a listen. Tune in anytime. Always got the episodes up on YouTube. We're streaming on all the streaming platforms. London is indeed blue. America